History usually tells us about things that did happen. A war that started, a treaty that was signed, a ship that arrived.
But sometimes, history is defined by what doesn't happen, a message that never comes, a signal that isn't there.
Today, we're standing in 1590. Governor John White has just returned to Roanoke Island. He's been gone for 3 years, stuck in England because of a war with Spain. He expects to find 115 people, friends, family, his own granddaughter, Virginia Dare.
Instead, he finds nothing. Silence. Just the word
Croatoan
carved on a post.
Most of us know that part. It's the classic American mystery. But today, we're not looking at the word on the post. We're looking for the clue that was missing.
Hi, I'm Abby.
I'm Dylan. If you like digging into history through questions, follow or subscribe.
And on History Through Questions, we're diving into one of America's oldest mysteries. But we're asking a question nobody thought to ask in 1590. What if the lost colony didn't want to be found?
Okay, before we get to the mystery, we have to look at the plan. Before John White left in 1587, he made a deal with the colonists, a secret signal.
That fits. They knew Roanoke was dangerous. The soil wasn't great, and they were already arguing with some local tribes. So they planned to move 50 miles into the mainland.
The deal was simple, but serious. If they moved, they were supposed to carve the name of the new place on a tree. But if they left because of danger, if they were under attack or forced to flee, they were supposed to carve a Maltese Cross above the name.
Think of it like a safe check-in on social media or a distress signal. If things were getting bad, leave the cross along with your location. No cross, no problem.
So when White comes back in 1590, he sees Croatoan carved on a post. He immediately checks for the cross.
And
No cross, nothing. And his journal says he was actually happy about it. He wrote that he greatly joyed because he thought it meant they were safe.
okay, but is that what it meant? Like, no cross equals safe?
That's what White thought. I mean, that was the signal they agreed on, right?
But Dylan, he'd been gone for 3 years. That's an eternity when you're starving. Maybe the plan didn't fail. Maybe the plan just expired.
Whoa, so you're saying White was looking for an answer to a question they weren't even asking anymore?
I don't know. That's what we need to figure out. Let's look at what he actually found.
Okay, so White gets off the boat expecting to find 115 people. Instead, nothing. It's completely abandoned. No bodies, no burned buildings. But here's what's weird. The houses had been taken down.
Taken down? You mean like on purpose? That doesn't make any sense. If you're fleeing for your life, why would you stop to carefully disassemble your house?
This changes how we read this, because in order for the colonists to do this, they would need time, a plan.
But then why did they build a huge fort wall around the whole site?
I know, it makes no sense. You build a fort to defend yourself, right? So why would you leave?
Is it possible they stayed for a while first? Like they built the fort, lived there, and then decided it was time to move?
It's very possible. And we know they weren't in a rush when they left, because inside that fort, White found all this heavy gear just sitting in the grass. Iron bars, lead, even small cannons.
Wait, they left the cannons?
Yeah, just abandoned them.
That's the smoking gun right there. You don't leave your best weapons if you're expecting a fight, but you do leave them if you're moving 50 miles through a swamp and you've decided you'd rather have a bag of corn than a 200-pound piece of iron.
Sure, but it wasn't just the heavy stuff. Other items were left behind, including armor, English weapons, and all the formal colonial gear. White's personal things, books, map frames, were ditched in a trench and ruined by the elements.
So they took practical things, food, tools, and left everything that said we're English colonists.
This feels intentional, doesn't it?
Okay, so let me think about this. They carefully took apart their houses, they left behind armor and weapons, and they carved Croatoan on a post with no Maltese Cross.
Exactly. White greatly joyed because he thought no cross meant they were safe. But maybe it meant the safety plan they made 3 years ago just didn't matter to them anymore.
Wait, you're saying they chose to leave? Like this was a decision, not an emergency?
That theory makes sense. Everything White describes, it's orderly, it's planned, it's not chaos.
But if it was a plan and they left a sign, why does history still call them the lost colony?
Because White never got the chance to prove they weren't. He saw the sign, he knew exactly where to go, but right before he could sail there, a massive hurricane hit.
Hurricane at the worst possible moment?
The worst. It snapped the ship's anchor cable and then forced them back to England. He died believing he knew where they were without ever seeing them again.
That's heartbreaking.
It is. But here's the thing, Abby. We can go where White never could. Archaeologists have. At Croatoan Island, called Hatteras today, they found English objects inside Native American villages.
I remember hearing about that. They didn't just find trade goods, they found personal things too. A writing slate, a lead pencil, everyday objects.
Which makes me wonder, were English people actually living there? Or were their lives becoming part of something new?
That question reminds me of a speech from the Lumbee tribe in North Carolina. In 1865, a Lumbee leader said the English were treated kindly and taken to live with us. And that word took really stands out to me.
It doesn't sound like fighting. It sounds more like being brought in, becoming part of the community.
Exactly. No distress signal, armor left behind, and a community that remembers taking them in. It doesn't feel like a mystery, it feels like a move.
But it leaves us with that one big question. If they didn't vanish, why does every history book still call them the Lost Colony?
Maybe because they were only lost to the English government. To Queen Elizabeth, if her colonists stop acting English and start living in native villages, she's lost her colony. They aren't hers anymore.
So loss doesn't mean they died. It means they changed. They chose a different story in order to survive.
Which makes you wonder, when a group survives by changing who they are, when does that start to look like a disappearance to the people watching from the outside?
And if you were one of those 115 people, would you care if the world thought you were lost as long as you were safe? If you want more episodes like this, follow or subscribe.
We're still thinking about this one, and we'd love to keep the conversation going. If you've got a take, a question, or something we missed, drop it in the comments. And just to be clear, the voices you're hearing are AI, but the research and questions come from real educators behind the show.
I'm Dylan.
I'm Abby, and this has been
History Through Questions.
Keep Asking.